Usually when I make semi-political writing videos, I expect to trigger a bunch of neckbeards. But today I expect to trigger a bunch of teenage girls. Hey guys, it's Amy here, back again with another video. Enemies to Lovers has taken the bookish world by storm, and I am in the eye of the tornado. I'm not saying that I hate Enemies to Lovers. One of the romance subplots that I'm writing actually plays with that idea. As a whole, the concept is very appealing. Two people who hate each other slowly learn to like each other, tolerate each other, and then it slowly evolves into love. It's very heartwarming. It's cute. And when played right, very incredible. So with this massive trend, I did what I do best and overanalyzed its popularity. And I have some bad news. The stereotypes that surround enemies to lovers, especially when fantasy is sprinkled into them, are sexist. And damn right you should be concerned. These enemies to lovers based tropes are bringing back expectations about femininity and masculinity that are at least 100 years outdated. And they're hidden behind a smutty smokescreen. We're going to dive into this and see if we can put a more feminist spin on this beloved trope that is love to the point of manipulation. But before that, you should hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. I post new videos every weekend on writing, books, and digital content for authors. If you want to hear more about my rants on books and writing, I also have a TikTok account down in the description. It's Amy Writer Rose, and I post TikToks on there about 5 times a week. And it does include some feminist takes on BookTok, much like what's going down in this video. Speaking of, let us dive into why Enemies to Lovers has turned sexist. Today, teen girls are a target audience for Enemies to Lovers and a reason why that particular trope has gained so much popularity. And a lot of it is to do how they are psychologically wired while going through puberty. Social media leaves us in an age of insecurity and worthlessness, as social media literally dictates what society and our lives should be like. From what our houses look like to our relationship status and appearance. For teen girls, this can leave them in a position where they feel unwanted because they do not have the ability to achieve this stuff. But at the same time, they cannot comprehend that these people had to work very hard for it, and this is something that took them years to do. And for teen girls, this may not be something that they have access to. So how does Enemies to Lovers fit into all of this? It surrounds the concept of someone loving you despite seeing some of your worst flaws. Think about it. As an enemy to somebody else, you're typically looking for everything that you hate about them, even like the little things, the way that they eat their food, the certain foods that they do eat. But then all of a sudden, instead of finding things that you hate about them, you suddenly find things that you like about them, and then slowly love about them, and then you generally start to care for them. It is a total like switcheroo, and it's something that can be very, very valuable and very insightful. Because if that person first hated you and all of a sudden they love you, they know the true you. It is such a beautiful and poetic narrative that even Billie Eilish couldn't write about it and do it justice. To teen girls, this can be something that is very appealing because all that they can see about themselves is their flaws. Social media is an age of perfection and showing everything in the life that is perfect. But when a teen sees themselves and their flaws in a world of perfection, that seems very odd. So to have someone actually come in, see their flaws, and then see everything good about them and still love them either way, that is something that they would really, really value. It's basically magic. But something went wrong when this trope was brought out into the masses. Oh boy, when I had this realization, I was completely disgusted. Young adult fantasy romance or dark fantasy romance books are everywhere. This is namely ones with a female protagonist and a male love interest who is seen as very strong and powerful. More powerful than the protagonist by a landslide. And this is rooted in Enemies to Lovers, with morally grey characters. I haven't read any book like this because I don't read unhealthy romances, and there have been some tropes in them lately that have links back to damsels in distress, a trope which should be way outdated. The two tropes that I am referring to are the who did this to you trope and the touch her and you die trope. Let's explain those in further detail. The touch her and you die trope is when a boyfriend suddenly becomes overly protective of their girlfriend by having these sort of deadly threats to somebody who wants to do harm to them. It's about the same level as a dog barking at a cat to protect their litter. But it's hot because
We love men seeing them protect their ladies.
Then we have the who did this to you trope. The female returns to their male love interest in a traumatized, bruised, or battered state. Then of course the male says the phrase who did this to you, the female explains what happened, and then sometimes the male will go out and seek vengeance just to make sure their female feels better. Look, I'm not saying that having a boyfriend who is protective of you can be bad. The bad part for me is that it's always the boys who are getting credit for such actions. What's the name of the trope? Touch her and you die. Why is it touch her and you die? What happened to touch him and you die? Touch them and you die. It's almost as if the girls who are reading these books and the authors who are writing them for them, some which are females, want to inspire these girls to become damsels in distress. That is making me way too concerned. Furthermore, it is showcasing masculinity in a toxic, alpha complex kind of way, where the only way that you will be able to win your girl is if you be protective of them or do bad things for the good of your relationship. Love is not about competing for your girl's attention by doing tough things. These are just two of the prominent tropes that are floating around. But where are they floating around? BookTok! TikTok for bookworms! Which should actually be called either Smut Talk or Enemies to Lovers BookTok because I'm struggling to find anything else on there. BookTok is just barely diverse. When you first hop onto BookTok, most of it is girls simping over hot boyfriends who they want to have kidnap them, potentially murder for them, and other really bad things. Them wishing they were in the place of the protagonists who are having these things happen to them just so they could have a hot boyfriend like that. Look, I'm not blaming teen girls for being horny for this. Unless they happen to not be sexually attracted to men, it is very natural for them to feel stuff like that. I'm more concerned about the authors writing this and the publishers distributing this so much that this has become what is popular. Or maybe I'm mad at the lack of education that these girls are getting about what is a healthy relationship and what kind of relationships they should actually be desiring. Especially when female authors are writing this stuff, sheesh. The number of videos where I have seen young girls talk about actually wanting these toxic boyfriends while recognizing their toxicity, I get angrier and lose my faith in humanity every time I see one of those. Because I genuinely cannot tell if they're joking. Like people shipping JD with Veronica from Heathers just because of how much JD cares about Veronica and that he cares about her so much that he's willing to blow up an entire school to protect her. That's not romantic, that's masochism. The only thing hot about that relationship is the fires that would be burning those innocent lives. And combining some of these tropes with enemies to lovers, it is literally so unrealistic. If you found out at any point that your crush has done cold-blooded murder, why is that not a turn-off for you? Especially if you discovered this before you developed feelings for them? Where did those feelings come from? I would instantly hate that person. Run. Fucking run to Jupiter! There's nothing hot about that. So it's clear, we need to educate these girls better. Enemies to Lovers does have the potential to be healthy and more feminist. We just need to write more books like that. And in regards to tropes such as Touch Her and You Die and Who Did This to You, we need to write more balance in genders with those tropes. So simply, we need to subvert everything about enemies to lovers that showcases it in a toxic light. A lack of murderous boyfriends and revenge on the partner's behalf. Touch him and you die. Breaking up with a toxic partner instead of staying with them and trying to change them. I I literally plan to feature a bunch of these enemies to lovers subversions in my own books. In my current work in progress, in fact, there's going to be a touch here and you die scene. Because my protagonist is a damn strong heroine, and she is definitely allowed to do that and have the validity to say that. And the male love interest is gonna do that right back, because they are gonna be the best damn power couple you have ever seen. I do not want to see the submissive side of the relationship. It is hardly healthy or balanced for your partner to solve your own problems out of love. Especially in terms of character arcs, it should be those characters solving their own problems. It is way healthier to help out your partner for them to make the final say and the final decisions. This comes from very amateur advice. I am in no way a health professional, but I believe that's how these books should be written. And because we see an enemies to lovers resurgence, these females being more submissive than the males, we need to subvert and get rid of that damsel in distress. Let's start writing feminist stories. Again. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you are new around here, ring that bell so you can find out when I post more creative content. I'm a feminist, I'm a writer. If you want to see both of that, ASTER'S CODA exposure, follow Abby Tacker as she faces her family's otherworldly blood feud across 3 worlds. And be sure to check in the description for my Instagram, my TikTok, my Fiverr, and my website. Stay creative, everybody, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.